So today we're going to look at this very old ATV, all-terrain vehicle that I have sitting back in the shed here. I've had it for almost 20 years, I think. But the last couple of years it's gotten worse and worse. And there's a couple of issues with this machine. It doesn't run at the moment. So today I'm trying to revive that old machine. See if we can get some fun out of it. So let me show you what is wrong with this machine. Let me first try to get it out here so we can take a closer look. So the first thing that is wrong with this machine is the ignition key here is totally dismantled. It broke off a couple of years back, and I'm trying to fix it a couple of times, but now it's totally broke. So I bought a new one here, and we need to take care of the wires here that comes out here and see if we can change that. The ignition key, the new one, actually turns on and off what it's supposed to do, and then I will have to, I think I'll just pass the wires over to the old connector here. So that needs to be done. In the back here is where the battery sits, and it's currently in the charger, charging up, and I'll get this back and mounted as soon as it's ready. We have the wires coming out here, plus and minus, if you will. And I put on a new one here a couple of years back, but the hose to the carburetor had disintegrated and thrown this away. I have some new hoses, so we need to connect that. But in a way, I also need to have some way of mounting it up here somewhere. I think there's a connector here that we need to make an adapter for this to sit on. So I'll probably draw that up in Fusion and then 3D print it. So, and up here we have the ignition button here. I have had some trouble with this sticking, but I'm thinking that when the ignition key is switched, then maybe this one is not a problem. But if it still is, I'll have to take care of that as well. So when I started filming for this project, I came to realize that there's a lot of things I want to show you. So I split it into multiple parts. One part is the first one here, ignition key. Part 2 is the fuel valve. And part 3 is the battery casing. And possibly a part 4 where I'm actually having fun driving the ATV. There's a lot of things I want to show you, so stay tuned. So as you can hear, a couple of issues with this machine. But first thing first, the ignition key, I'll try to change that. So I'll just need to measure how this one works, because we need to know that it's the same connectors, and even though it's the same color on the wires, it also needs to operate the same way, and that's switching on for power and battery and light and ignition and everything, and then switching off, of course. Usually you will go and ground the ignition coil so it doesn't just continue running. So first things first, try to see if this one behaves the way it should. So for the test, to see which connectors connect what on the ignition key, I have this ohm meter, and you can measure the resistance, and if the resistance is 0, meaning that the current flows unhindered, then it will give out the sound. So let me take this one and see if I can find a pair here. So either one goes in here, and we don't have anything on this one, not on this one, and not on this one. So let me try the other one here. Maybe it's tough to see, but I'm simply taking them one at a time, see if they connect. Here's a connection, and the ignition key is currently off. So I know these two pairs here on the right is switched on when the key is off. And on the other side, still no connection. So if I turn the key again to the ignition side, my guess is that these two on the left side here will have a connection. No? That's strange. Should be, yeah. There you go. So these two on the right side here is when the ignition is on, and that's the red and black on the back here. And these other two over here is when the ignition is off, and that's the black with a white stripe and the green. And looking at the old connector here, I can see we have a pair here where the two dots are closest to each other, and that's because when this one is switched, these two goes together. So over here we have, it's tough to see, but we have the red and black, so that is the ignition on, and we have the black and white stripe, and green is when the ignition is off. So the pair is the same. They kept that same wiring for 20 years. That's amazing. So now I just need to change these two connectors. So I'll simply cut this one and or both of them, and then connect them together. So I'll simply use these connector shoes and just mount them on one side first. Oops. So taking the new key and making sure that I connect the right wires. So usually easiest way is to first put it in here and just fix it like that, and then put the wire in here to make sure that it sits completely in the hole here. Maybe twist it a little so we don't get any stray cords. Put it in here and squeeze. So that's a firm and secure way. Maybe not waterproof, but I can put some tape on this one afterwards. So just continuing here, the black and white striped. Here we go, new ignition key, and changed the connector from the old one. So we can put that back in. We are lucky because the connector can just slide through the hole. And this one, again, is the same size as the previous one. So it actually fits nicely in here. Let me just check how it should turn. So there's a small alignment key up here. Just a small indent. So it fits nicely in here. And the key goes in. Perfect. Actually, I just took the ignition key off again, because I would like to isolate this or water tighten it. So I took a piece of this rubber-like shrink wrap and just need to peel off this small white layer here. There you go. And then this is stretchy. So you just start it somewhere and then stretch it good. Like this, and then keep winding it around. And it will vulcanize together and make a perfect isolation for water and debris and stuff. Now the connectors are watertight. Any debris and stuff that get in there reduces the rust, so I'll put it back in. And for the connector down here, I just added some of this electro spray to keep it the air moist out, and to prevent the connector for rusting, or whatever you should call it. Just a small spray here, like this, and then you connect the two together like that. Wipe off any excessive electro spray, and then we can mount it up here with the strip. Maybe you can't see so well. but it's just to keep it tight here. So I strip it up here. So that concludes the part 1 of reviving the old ATV. Stay tuned for part 2, where I'll take a look at the gasoline valve.